is our pleasure to introduce to the stage your creative director,
Miss Kim Kesty.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. That was so exciting. You guys get a little exciting. Let's hear it. Oh, just a little hint of what future bundles we have coming for you, but super exciting. But I am here, well, I'm going to share a few photos with you, and then I'm here to talk about our next Power 4, which you guys can guess if you see what color accent I have on. Let's check out some of these photos. I have been crafting for a long time. This is my mother in the picture with me, and this was about when I was newly married, maybe even started before we got married. We did a lot of craft shows together. Remember in the 80s, it was like, woohoo, country crafts. Loved them, still do love them actually. But we did a lot of craft shows together, and I thought, well, it's kind of fun because I'm going to be talking about, yes, classes and events, to show you a few photos of an early event that I used to really have a lot of fun with my mom. But I really started crafting even beyond that. Like, I don't know, my very first project was this tiny little cross-stitch turtle. It was so much fun, and we did decoupage, and yes, we did macrame, and we did all those fun things. But very much of my love of craft came down from my mother, so that's kind of fun. So again, what are we going to talk about right now? Classes and events. So classes is really the overall, part of this power. And the events is really more about a compilation of classes. So we're going to focus more on the class part, and definitely we'll be sprinkling some, talk about the events. But this really is going to be more about classes, and just keep in mind that an event is just a group of classes, kind of like what we're at right now. So an event could be more than that, but it can be as simple as a group of classes. So why do classes? Classes are kind of a little bit different spin on things than your typical makeup party. Classes, I think we want to really concentrate more on consistency, having a lot of the same people some of the times. You don't have to always have new people at your classes. Once they fall in love with you and your teaching methods, of course, they want to come to your classes again and again and again. So it becomes a strong revenue stream. And one other thing that's different about classes is that typically they are prepaid. So you create the class kit, however you want to do it, and then you get payment ahead of time. So again, that's a comfort factor right there. Again, you're keeping your customers engaged, and again, they're going to want to repeat with you. And it can also be a kind of a training for your downline. Most all of you have strong teams that are here. Some of you have teams that are just growing. Classes can also be a great opportunity to train and educate your downline. So what does a class look like? Regularly scheduled, typically. Some people have classes many times a week. We're going to have a speaker out here in a little bit that really has a really strong track record of doing frequent classes, but they don't have to be that often. So it's really whatever fits in your schedule, whatever's comfortable. And so during a class, you would typically create 3 to 4 projects or have a group of coordinating projects, really however you want to do it. It definitely doesn't only have to be cards. Maybe your group is scrapbookers. You can have your class project doing a double-page spread of a scrapbook page. Kind of whatever your customers are looking for. And why do it? So again, strong revenue stream. Again, customers prepay. I guess that is repeating a little bit. And it drives excitement. So when we have these new catalog launches, it's the perfect opportunity for you to come and say, oh my gosh, I'm having my new class, or I'm having this group of classes which becomes an event, and boom, you can launch your new catalog. How many of you have had customers or have gathered groups together for our FSJ launches where we have the catalog, our FSJ Presents? Quite a few of you. Okay, so that becomes an event that you don't even have to plan. That becomes an event that we try to help you with, so you can gather your customers, you can sell the kits, market them to those and say, hey, we're getting together, and it's kind of a pre-planned event for you. Of course, you're going to add your special touches, and that's super fun too. So that's an idea to schedule them around different launches. And that is a good way to gain new customers, because often when friends get together, or you have certain customers, you say, bring your friend. It's going to be so fun. You don't want to miss it. So that's another way to gain new customers. Okay, so what does it look like? Events, like I mentioned earlier, are just kind of a group of classes. Now, that is not the only type of event. Obviously, events can be anything from all-day sessions to retreats that you have with your team. They can even be events that you pay for and go to, like expos and different community events where you maybe rent a booth and go there. That's an event too. It's a little bit different than what we're talking about now, but kind of keep your mind open to the whole broad category of events and everything that can be included on them. So yes, typically events are a little bit larger. And again, taking advantage of what we do several times a year with our FSJ Presents and then adding on to that. Okay, so how do you get started? I'm just going to go through this real quick. You would have to pick a theme. This is not 100% necessary, but a theme can be as broad as what the gals just talked about now, a thank you theme. It can be a theme centered around a catalog launch. It can be a theme like birthday. The #1 occasion that we make cards for is birthdays. So you can just say, I'm going to have a birthday class or a birthday event. You know, bring your list of all your birthdays that you have for 2018, and we're going to tackle, you know, the first 10 cards on your list, or, you know, whatever. So keep in mind that you can really play and have fun with those event themes. Collect payment, one of the best parts is that, again, most of these events or classes are prepaid. So you have that guaranteed income. A lot of times when you put a lot of effort into something that is free or that is kind of a more open-ended thing, then you get a little disappointed if you don't have the participation or you don't have the, you know, income from that. So that's one really good thing about classes and events, is that the income comes, you know, first. And the most important, right? Have fun. It's what we do. We love it. Okay, so I want to bring out a very special guest who, again, I said has a very strong track record in classes. I don't think she's going to talk as much about events, but again, keep in mind what I just said about how events are just a collection of classes. And I would like to bring out, oh, I don't think my slide is up there. Oh, here it comes. Julie! Yay! Julie Robinson! There she is! Hey, Julie! Thank you so much for coming out. So, Julie Robinson is our executive manager, Journey Coach executive manager, and she's going to share a lot of wisdom with you, so get your little pens and pencils ready to take notes. Thank you, Julie.
Sure. So I've been a Journey Coach since June of 2014. I signed up pretty much when they hit the ground running. For myself, I actually joined because I wanted to get a discount on the products that I purchased. And you never know where the journey is going to take you. I mean, this is where it's taken me, and it's been just incredible. So it's just been really fun. When I first started, I showed people this new company that I was getting involved with, and I showed some of the cards and things that came in my kit, and they're like, maybe you should do a class, you know, we could come over, we would even pay you if you wanted to do one of these. So I said, okay, why not? So I started my business by doing just some small classes, pretty much with my stamping friends, people that I had stamped with already for years that wanted to see this new product. Well, they really loved what they were seeing, even though at the time I could only print black and white copies of a few stamp sets. They loved what they saw, and they still wanted to order those few stamp sets that were available. They started telling their friends, and now my classes, I average between 25 and 30 people every month. So it's really grown, and again, a lot of it is word of mouth and sharing with people. So when I do a class at my home or in a meeting room, all supplies are included with the cost of the class. So I provide all the inks, the tools, the adhesives, everything, what they pay for. So they just get to come and play and make cards. Some of the people that come to my classes never stamp outside of the class. They come every month just because they want to have cards to give to their friends. And that's okay too. And then of course there's people that come and they order and they want to make more cards. So, but one of the things that I learned at the first leadership conference I went to was how to really brand and use the FSJ products. When I started doing my classes, I didn't have a lot of FSJ tools. I had, of course, the stamps and the papers and stuff. But so, you know, I would use like dollar store scissors and my white bone folder from the discount craft store and things like that. And someone there said, Julie, to be a success, you really need to use all of our products. And I said, I can't afford that right now. She said, as you go on and you put your parties in, you do your orders, start collecting over time. And I've done that, and now I'm exclusively FSJ, and I tell you, like those detail shears that no one would really give a look to in the catalog, almost everyone that comes to my classes regularly has a set for their crafting at home. They love them. Even something as basic as the crease tool. They love it. They love the colors, they love the versatility, the way that they work. So I think if you're gonna be doing classes, it is really key to really promote all of the different things that FSJ has to offer, not necessarily just the stamps and the papers, the tools and the products as well. So cool. I found that very enlightening because I really didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter what scissors I use. They're not here for that. But again, that's how you increase your sales. I do not provide food or drink at my classes, so I keep it very simple. People just kind of come and play and do their thing. I have 2 different ways of doing the classes that I do. I do actually 3 sessions each month. It's all the same cards, but I do 2 that I do at a meeting room in a hotel and 1 that I do at my home. The reason for that is I like to have less people in my classes. I don't want to do a class with 25 people because I like to give personal attention, really. That's kind of one of the things that I enjoy doing. And when I do them in my house, I only have room for a max of 10 people anyway, so it's worked out with this meeting room for me. And what I like about the meeting room concept is how I do it is I'll have a table set up for every specific project, and then everything is out for that card, including the sample, and then people just move from table to table. As they complete their cards, they move to the next one. This is nice for people that work a little quicker, that need to maybe get somewhere else that night or whatever, and it makes it really easy for me for organizing because I can just put everything down. So when they do come to the class, I give them a packet of all of their base card stock. So they'll be like the card stock is cut, the dies are done up for them, the embossing is done. If they need to stamp and then die cut afterwards, they'll be doing that themselves. But shapes, borders, stuff like that is all taken care of because that saves time for those people as well. So that's what they get when they come to one of my classes. As I design for my classes, there are several things that I do keep in mind. First of all, of course, I have my audience, right? I know like there's always some people that come that are more advanced stampers or and in some cases, new people, right, that just have discovered me and have never really stamped before. So I try to do a balance of kind of quick and easy cards, as well as some that are more detailed and more in-depth. If you do everything that's going to take an hour, do 5 cards that are going to take an hour, obviously no one wants to spend that much time on a weeknight, right? My classes go for 3 hours. But it also gives them a sense for the advanced things that they can do and different things like that. So I like to do a combination of that when I do my classes. The other thing I do is I'm very thrifty. So I stock up when they're on sale, right? So we had a green sale a while back. I had tons of green cardstock, things like that. When we had our embellishment sale, I bought like buy one, get one free. So I actually design around products I have to use, right? I'll be like, okay, I have 3 packs of Lavender Fusion cardstock. What can I come up to use this up? Or I have all these packages of pearls. Let me come up with a project that will use these. So I try to be efficient with what I have so I can use through my supplies as well. So that's kind of something that I definitely do when designing my classes. It's one of the big things, I guess. So I pride myself also on really being one of the reasons I'm successful, I think, is because I don't feel like I'm pushy with my customers and my friends that come to my classes. I have catalogs sitting out, order forms. I keep my swatches and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily push sales. When I walk around to each table to kind of give instructions to people on each project they're doing, I'll mention, any current specials going on, talk about some products that they're using that maybe they're not familiar with, et cetera. But then that's it. I don't really go into a lot of why they'd want to buy it, et cetera. And that's just me. I mean, everyone has a different style, but it seems to be working fine for me, so that's what I do. I also pride myself really in good customer service with those that come to my classes and place orders from me as well. When people are new that come to my classes, anyone that comes for the first time gets a small gift. If they bring a friend that's never been to an event of mine, they also get a gift. And keep in mind, these gifts are nothing that I paid for, right? Because I don't want to pay more money out of my pocket. So there are previous Bloom benefits from expired catalogs, never from a current catalog, because you want people to earn those. Maybe an extra ATS that I got when I put in a party order and I didn't have, I had a duplicate. So those are the kinds of things that I'll give away to people to encourage them to also bring new friends along with them. And so that's really how my business has grown, I guess, is, word of mouth, bring friends, or, bringing friends to my events. I also do, while this is focused a lot on the classes, I do also a couple of big events each year. I do some stamping expos and different craft expos, and that I think is important too, because that's where I meet the people that are outside my friend zone, even my friend's friend zone, right? And that will maybe join my team, will maybe come to my classes and start telling their friends about the classes. So events can also give you a lot of great referrals. And while I know it's a big investment, I mean, really, if you want to build a business, you need to invest. And sometimes, to me, that's where I've really met a lot of people. And there may be even people that just start ordering you like consistently, $100 a month, whatever, $100 a quarter. They just continue to work from, order from you just because you met them at an expo and now they know a face. So one of the other things that, I'm sorry.
You're doing great. I'll come up and give her some support.
Okay, thank you. So, but one of the other things is that I'd say probably about 70% of the sales I have are as a result of my classes. I have online sales and that stuff, and I do make it parties when I can find them, but I can't always get people to host them. So listening backstage to Carrie's ideas were really, really good. I'm going to challenge myself to do that this year. So, but what I find though is that when I do my classes, I don't get a lot of orders right at that class. And at first, when I did them, I'm like, it was kind of a disappointment because I'm thinking, why aren't all these people ordering stuff? They're saying they like this and whatever, they love it, it's great. But what I found is they want to go home, peruse the catalog, make their list, decide what they really want, and then they send me their orders. So now I set up an order or a party for every month that we can do in our new system, right? And then I collect orders throughout the month, and then that's where I put them in. So even though they're not placed at the class, they're as a result of the class. I also find several people I have a lot of customers that do their own catalog parties, right? Because they want free stuff. So these people everyone wants free stuff, right? Yeah. So these people that come to my classes, I'll get $150 to $200 orders every quarter from them because they want a bunch of new things. So again, it starts because they came to a class. It ends because they love the product.
Right.
So.
Awesome, Julie. Okay, I just have a couple follow-up questions. One of them is, can you tell us just a little bit about how you price your classes? Is it always consistent, the same?
Sure.
A little bit about that.
Okay, so when I first started, I was doing 5 cards for $12 and was told by people coming to my classes that I had to charge more because I was crazy. And I said, I said, really? Okay, you'll pay more? So I didn't raise it a lot, but I do charge $15 now for 5 cards. So, and I saw, did Cindy just go like this to her? Cindy, I know.
Maybe it's time for a little pay raise in 2018. We'll see.
Maybe. So,
but you guys know that this is the way Julie's method is obviously working. She has amazing sales, and a lot of that is as a result. Maybe if people feel like they get an awesome value at your class, then they go home and they're like, what? Right. So yeah, maybe there's probably room for growth there, but
yeah. So
depends on what area you're in. Absolutely.
True. Yeah. In Minnesota, that's probably So, but then I also do once a year. I do a holiday Stamp-A-Stack where we do.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
We do 15 cards, Christmas cards. So 5 designs, 3 of each, and then a couple of 3D projects. Okay. And so last year we did the treat box with where you use the window cutout with the Christmas tree in front, and then we used the new gift card or gift card holder that was in the last book. So those are the projects that we did, and for that I charged $30. And people then, you know, last year I charged $25, I raised it to $30, no one batted an eyelash, and I still had people come. So again, I'm learning about these things, but like she said, the people are used to my pricing, and they buy from me, I think, because they think they're coming for a good value, and you know what? We all scratch each other's backs. It works for me, and whatever, but that's really what I charge. Now for 2018, what I would like to do is actually do another Stamp-A-Stack, like an all-occasion Stamp-A-Stack, where we do a similar concept like the holiday one, but do like maybe sympathy, get well, like a masculine card, a feminine birthday, things like that.
General assortment.
Right, a general assortment. So that's kind of my goal. I'm actually want to do that for February, so I'm hoping to get some great ideas from swaps I'm receiving, you guys. And, but yeah, so that's how I price my classes and how it works.
All right, cool. Okay, well, can we all just give Julie a round of applause? Thank you so much. We are going to be creating, but I have someone else to bring out. So thank you, Julie. Much appreciated. So yes, I think it is time to bring a little bit of that creative that I promised you in. Lynn had her turn on stage, so I think I will follow suit. See if we're going to bring my table out first. I'll put the slide up for my guest. So you guys can see the name on the screen. We have the amazing Ruth Cooper that is going to come right out behind this table. And I get to create with Ruth. How fun is that? Hey, Ruth! Yay! So fun. So, Ruth, first I want to have you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go behind the table and get started.
Okay. I've been a Fun Stampers Journey coach since January of 2016, so I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary. I've been stamping for over 30 years. I started back when you had to go to the office supply store to get your ink pads, and you had to hold your heat embossing over the stove or the toaster to heat emboss. So I've been doing this a long time. I've been teaching classes for probably about 15 years at various venues and stuff, and I just love
my... We have another class expert here. I love it.
Yeah, I just love my Fun Stampers Journey family. I came up a couple weeks ago. It just struck me that you're my tribe. Aww. I found my tribe. I am so comfortable here. I love it.
Well, we love you and we love your work. Ruth posts a lot of cards online. I don't know. Probably everyone in this room follows her, but I don't know if all of your customers do too. But she has amazing projects.
I set a challenge for myself the last couple of years on my birthday month, which is May, to post a card or a project every day of the month. And last year I decided to take it through the whole year. So I'm working my way through the year now. Occasionally I do non-FSJ stuff, so I do not post that to the groups. But I challenged myself to do that. So, I use Fun Stampers Journey almost all the time.
Good girl.
In some way or form.
That's right. Well, as we add new products all the time, there's just more and more to work with. So we love that. Yes. So we are going to be doing some projects today, and I'm really going to put Ruth to work because I love her work. And we're going to be chatting about classes in between. So as we work on projects, we'll be maybe pointing out some ways you would use it in a class, or some tips and tricks on how you would do certain things for a class. So let's get you started. We're going to do a fun project with the new Hero City die. So here's the Hero City die. Love this one. And even though it's a city and it's kind of associated with these Supergirl and Super Guy stamp sets, it's an amazing stamp set to use without those other stamps. So we're going to show you a couple ways to use that. So we've got some embossed paper. This is pre-embossed. Do you want to grab the folder there, Ruth?
Okay.
So this is our darling little hearts folder, and we have the paper already pre-embossed. So I'm going to put Ruth to work and have her add a little color to that embossed panel. Do you guys like doing this technique where you kind of just add to that raised surface? There's lots of ways to do it, but I'm going to have Ruth do it with our new little dauber. Our little dauber.
I love these little ones.
Do you love the little ones?
I love the little ones. They're so much fun.
So you can watch as she goes along how easy it is to add that color. Now, if you're teaching in class, you don't want to scare people away with super hard techniques, especially maybe not for your first project. So say you're teaching 3 cards in a class. Like, you want to give them some instant gratification right out of the gate. Am I right? Like, give them something they can really succeed at. I love this one. This is the rich coral going on. It just really makes those hearts pop. So this is going to be the background of our city. We're going to spin the city into a Valentine card. Does that sound fun?
Oh, cool.
So again, the versatility of the projects is fun. We want to show different ways to use a particular die, different ways to use a particular stamp set. So when you teach classes, Ruth, do you use like one stamp set for several cards, or you just try to use more product, or what's your strategy?
Honestly vary it. Sometimes I just go off a stamp set, but I like to mix our products. Okay. And the more I mix our products and the more I show new things, like something like this, it adds to my sales. Always, because, you know, they'll try it and then they'll like it.
So new techniques are kind of your jam a little bit?
Yeah.
Cool.
So we got kind of a mottled one here, and I kind of like that.
I like it.
It's got different tones on it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and grab the Hero City die that we already have cut out there and just kind of lay it on top to give them a little peek of the effect that we're going to do there. So it's basically when you cut the Hero City die, you have your option of popping all the windows out or leaving some of them in. So I think sometimes it's kind of fun to leave a few of the windows in, just so maybe they're not, you know, all popped out. We can pop a few more out if we want to. Here's our little bloom tool. This is perfect for that.
Look at that. You can put it just about any way you like.
Yeah,
you got options.
So because it's wider and we are doing the portrait style card, then we'll eventually put it on there and just trim the excess away. But we've got a couple little pieces that are going to accent it. One is, it's like the tiniest piece of paper. We just have a little tiny piece of our little comic strip paper. But I love the birthday prints, the birthday pop prints. Do you guys like them?
Yes, they're so fun.
They're so fun. They're kind of that mixture of kind of more superhero-y and then plenty of the basic prints.
Oh, we got a few of them popped out here.
Got a few of them popped out. Yeah, and again, it doesn't matter if you have every single one popped out. But all we're going to do is kind of mat this guy with the embossed folder. We're going to layer up the city. We're also going to add a cute little strip of the stickers there, the black foiled stickers. Yep, do you see how it's building together? Let's go ahead and show them the finished card, Ruth, so we can kind of, this part you guys have got, right, assembling it? Let's show the finished card. Look how cute. Let's pull out the celebration script stamp set.
Sparkles, you've added
few little sparkles, and check out some of the little hearts. So this is another fun technique. When you've got the hearts embossed, come back and just add Journey Glaze to just a few of the little hearts. Oh, there we go. Turn it for the angle for the camera. Yeah. So see how just a few of the hearts are highlighted? So cute. And the celebration script is one of our amazing, like, I don't know, probably my favorite sentiment set right now. I really was hooked on the must-have sentiments, but I think this one's kind of taken the place of my favorite. And does it have a die set?
Yes.
Yes, it does. And do we have the die set here in case you want to buy it?
Yes.
Yes, we do. So I know that you got this set in your registration kit, but just to give you a tip that if you haven't already ordered the die, I don't know how many of you ordered it on January 1st, but we have the die available in the Journey shop. So don't have to fussy cut.
Awesome.
Yay. So cute project, right? We have one more project with the city. I'm going to have Ruth show. But again, same die. Can you even imagine how different it looks? So now we have the same die, in fact, the same black cardstock, but now we've just created a completely different look. Isn't that pretty?
That's awesome.
So this was done on the gel press. So we've got some white whipped cream paint, and then this was done laying the card on the gel press.
Cool.
So we're going to use that as probably one of our fun tips for the blog coming up. Like, we'll step that card out exactly how it was. But let's show both of them together. We really just brought it just to kind of give you guys a little, you know, heads up on how the same product could look very different. But we'll put this in as one of our fun projects on the blog real quick. So fun.
Cool.
Okay. Now we've got another project that's got really some fun, actually a fun way to use one of the dies that is a little bit wacky, a little bit fun. You want to scoot over a little bit, Ruth?
Okay.
I'm going to put her to work. This is kind of fun. Like, I can just, like, be my red self and be, like, a little bit bossy and have Ruth going. So, super accessories. So this is a stamp set that you wouldn't think you could even use on its own. But how many of you noticed the card in the catalog that had all the cute little pieces for the background with the accessories? Kind of fun, huh? Different way to use it. So we're going to show you one other way. Do you want to show them the little wings there? So we did pre-emboss this, right? Embossed with white embossing powder. And it's done on vellum, so it gives you just a really pretty look. What do you guys think it's going to be? Wings, for sure.
Wings. Wings.
How about fairy wings? Should we make it into fairy wings?
Yeah.
We're going to make it into actual like wings on their own. But I'm going to start fussy cutting this. In the meantime, I'm going to leave the camera on Ruth, and she's going to show how to make this fun little background with a piece of our bubblegum cardstock. Do you want to tell them what you're doing? She's just going to wing it.
I'm going to wing it. She's going to let me wing it. So we're going to put some bubble gum, liquid color down. And she said something backstage about adding in some of our new white silk.
Ooh,
so that's probably going to soften the color. Let's get some color on here.
Yep.
We're going to mix it in, but not touch. You said wing it.
So she's adding whipped cream. I love it. You're doing great. Another fun idea for your classes is when you're going to introduce new product, like both of these silks are fairly new. You're using the sparkle silk now, yes?
Yep, adding in some sparkle.
So besides just flicking it on your card, which is amazing and gives great texture, this is kind of a fun way to show them how to mix and match. I love what you said, mix and match our products.
Yeah.
So. And the idea that there's no right or wrong way, like everyone's project is going to be different, right?
Yes.
And to give them the power that, you know what, your project is amazing just how it is.
And I find with my classes, when you give them options and you show them techniques like this, they just love it. They can play for hours. They really can.
And just think all the different color combinations you could do.
Yes.
All the liquid colors, all the sparkle silks. They're all water-based. They can all mix and match beautifully.
Oh, it came out blotchy. Oh, well.
It came out a little darker, but they will dry a little bit lighter.
So, and I go back and do this. I clean up the block.
Clean it up, wipe it out, get all those sparkly yummies.
Clean up the block, leaves up for less of a mess.
The cardstock will absorb quite a bit of water. Oh, I like how the shading is coming in here. Yeah, it got a little darker there, but we do have a piece that's already dry, so Ruth can show you that.
So it looks better than mine.
But you know what? It's just fine because guess what we're going to do? I want to pull your piece out that you did too. So I've cut out the little vellum wings, and look where it's going to go. It's going to go right on top and totally soften that look. So
you could actually soften it a little bit too. You could just take your sparkle silk and paint it down a little bit, and it would soften it a little bit.
Spread it out some more. So how cute are these? Let's grab the little embossed. This actually is an embossed card base that is kind of a fun way to use the embossing folder. Oh, yes, let's hold it back. The mystery cameraman.
The mystery cameraman.
Oh my gosh, his arms probably is already sore. Oh, the battery,
okay.
I was looking earlier, I'm like, he needs to have like the post that holds it up so your arm doesn't get so sore. Okay, you guys probably can't see it this good, so I'll show it again, but when you layer the vellum on top, it immediately softens the background.
Yes.
Oh, can they focus? Whoa. We'll show it again when he comes back. But this card base is kind of fun. And again, you probably can't see real well, but we've actually embossed, it's the regular tent fold card base, but we've pre-embossed half of the card base already. I think that's kind of a fun trick that maybe not everybody knows or does.
Texture and dimension to your card.
But still having a single layer.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that extra layer on top, which will be cute also, but kind of fun just to run it through your cardstock that way, right? So we'll adhere those while we're waiting for Mr. Cameraman to come back. Do you want to put me to work? Should I do it?
You want to do it?
How about I do this part and you grab some foam squares?
Oh, sure. Ask me something hard here, like where's it at?
It's right there.
Okay, so we're popping this layer.
While she's doing that, Ruth, tell me a little bit about how often do you have classes? Do you have the same people quite often come to your classes? Like you have this loyal following?
Yes.
Tell me more.
When I started having my classes, before I started having them, I was actually having cards for the troops events. And then a couple, and the local scrapbook store, which is now closed, would let me host the events there. So I started picking up customers there and people who were interested in what I did. And then those nonprofits a couple of years ago closed down. So when Diane Sadler here, one of our journey coaches, when she started doing the cards for the troops, my girls were excited because they love to give back. But when I started teaching the classes, they decided they wanted to have a club. And so I have a club, and then, of course, they wanted to learn more than they could just learn at club. And so I teach classes 3 to 5 times a month. It just depends on the schedule and what's going on. And so if I demonstrate all my products there, they don't necessarily order in class, but the club order, and so it keeps my sales
so you're like
up.
a combination.
Yeah,
like
it
you
keeps.
have the classes, but then some of those members or all of them are part of the club?
All of them currently are part of the club.
Okay.
It fluctuates. You know,
Okay.
sometimes I'll pick up some new people, and sometimes some of the old people drop off. I mean,
Black.
it just you know, it flows. But my club
Awesome.
keeps me active, and my classes give me extra income, so I can save to come to leadership and convention, and you know, buy new supplies when the new catalogs come out. So
Right.
it works.
So I love that that's a combination. We are going to be talking about clubs, of course, if you guys are catching on to the drift of the morning. We did the Make It Party first, now we're doing
Yes.
classes, and we will be doing clubs. And I totally stamped that crooked.
That's
like
okay.
really bad.
It's okay.
This is why I have my pro shears.
Well, I
because
tell
was
my
trying to do that.
girls, number one, it's only paper.
And it's a little piece of paper. So
Number
it's
two,
okay.
it's a creative detour. There's not
Okay.
much you can
like
do that you know, we can't fix, and if all else fails, they can just have a new little
I
piece
think
of
I
paper.
fixed it. Okay, so we'll show this one, which is almost our completed card right here. We have a little details, a few little details. But I also want to bring Ruth's original one that she said was a little blotchy, and it is drying lighter.
Yeah, it is.
But again, so here's our close-up. Once you add the little vellum on top, it really just kind of blends that whole
Actually,
thing in.
it ended up kind of
Going around
focusing.
the rings,
Yeah,
I love
focusing.
it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring the finished card. Look at a couple little accents. We have the new little, do you want to grab the patootie burst?
Oh, those are
Tiny
cute.
little flowers, aren't they sweet? So these are one of our, and multi-pack, like this would be an amazing pack for a class. 60 flowers
Yes.
in that one pack. Like you'd
Yeah.
have enough for several for people. But so cute with the little wings and of course a little sparkle silk added on top. Can you see that on the camera where it kind of glitters?
Oh, that is. Look at that.
Yeah, so sweet. So great class cards. So a little
Awesome.
technique, a little way to use like a stamp set in a different way. Love
I
that.
showed 2 of my customers this. Kim had let us preview the card that we'd be doing, and I showed 2 of my customers, and they're dying to make this card now.
Nice. Ooh, sneak peek.
Yeah,
So we do have one superhero card that we're just going to show, and we'll hang it up on the board too, because she is awfully fun with all her little clothes and stuff. Isn't she great?
Yes, she's fun.
Like, look at the tiny little star detail, right from the Star Punch. The little tiny handheld Star Punch.
And our star, our sunburst die.
Sunburst eye in the back. So she is really fun. So we'll hang that one up. That's just a little bonus. Okay, so for our last idea, this is kind of, these two projects a little bit go together, but this is a really simple card. And this is one, it is more simple because the whole idea of this type of class is to do a set of cards and then to have matching containers. So we are going to be featuring a little bit of our envelope box die, right? So super fun to use this for like a larger class or even to move into more of an event type of thing.
Yes.
We're going to kind of be working and then have this, whether you have it pre-cut for them, you have them cut it. Just a great way to show off what is, you know, definitely a little bit more expensive die, but if they really get their hands on it and fold it and piece it and put it together, I think it definitely adds to the, you know, appeal.
Yes.
So this is our card, and we've got a card base there. I'm just going to have Ruth do a little bit of stamping, and we're going to move through this one fairly quickly because we've got a few other fun things to show, don't we?
Yes.
So exciting. I think there's a crease tool over there if you need it.
Okay, I cheat. I have a scorer. I use the scorer at home.
Use the scorer at home.
Yeah, I score my cards.
Contraband.
We have a score blade on our
Oh, the score
trimmer.
blade. I thought you meant like a score tool
Well,
or something.
yeah.
Well, you know, either
We
one.
have a score.
We do
on
have a
our
score. You're
trimmer.
right. You're right. I don't have a trimmer up here because our table's not too big, but good job. So this is also stamping with liquid color. So I'm going to have Ruth. So when you stamp with liquid color, I don't know if you've done a ton of it already. Do you do it like from a baby white where you add the ink, or
I
do you go
haven't
straight
yet.
from a block? Do you
I
want to try
usually go
it?
straight from the block.
Let's try it with a baby white.
Now, I did do a cool technique for one of my swaps here. I was playing with the new leaf layers stencil.
Okay.
And when
Ooh, yeah, I love that stencil.
When I cleaned off the stencil with the baby wipe onto the sheet, it was cooler than just daubing through. It kind of left some
So
darker.
it kind of puddled a little bit or
Well,
something?
it left a darker outline with a softer middle.
Oh, got it.
So it automatically gave interest to it.
Oh,
and
fun.
so I went, I have to keep those now instead of just cleaning them off.
That was a
New
good.
background.
That was a good mistake, right?
Yes.
When you do things that you didn't mean to. So just add a little bit of liquid color to the baby wipe. You could even do pink on one side and then
The green on the
green
other?
on the other.
So do you do a lot of it, or?
You want enough, like the stamp that we're going to use is the really pretty flower stamp, and let me grab the stamp set to show you. This is our Spring Botanicals.
Love that set.
Isn't it pretty?
Yes.
So pretty. So yeah, you really just need an area big enough to get the stamp, and you can move the stamp around on the baby pad, baby wipe to
And then we need some
baby
green.
wipe / ink pad. Yeah,
For
a little
some,
bit
like,
of
some
green.
leaves.
Why not? And actually, this bigger one is stamped in the bubble gum, which we have over there. Ooh, I'm like getting my head in
Oh.
the camera.
Well, it could be watermelon now.
Let's just do it watermelon. Let's switch it. I love that. And then we'll do the smaller little leaf with the bubble
We'll
gum.
just move it around on here.
Yeah. So ink it up and give it a try. I don't know if there's quite enough ink on there because the baby wipe tends to soak it up, but
We'll figure it
let's
out.
try it. Sometimes showing different techniques like this really gets people excited in your classes.
Let's see what we got.
Got enough on there? It's
I
kind of hard
think
to tell
so.
with these new
Yes,
style
I
stamps.
do. Love them though.
So how many people come to your classes typically?
I usually average about 5 people a class,
Okay.
so it's
And
a
you
nice.
teach them in your home?
I teach them in
or-
my home.
Okay.
We converted the garage to the house into a
Okay.
studio.
Fun.
So it now has central heat and air, and my husband
Nice.
insulated it a couple weeks ago.
Aw.
So the ceiling above now has 12 inches of insulation, so it's nice and cozy in
Nice.
there.
Keeps cozy. I love the watermelon.
Yeah.
Somebody could have used a tiny bit more ink there, but
But
it's totally
it's
good.
fine.
Yep.
It kind of softly fades
Yeah.
out.
Add some little details, and we're going to also use the celebration script words that we already die cut here to layer on.
Yep, see, not getting enough here. Of course, it's probably the lump here. Let's scoot it
Yeah.
over. It's lumpy.
So I kind of threw Ruth in here blind, right?
Yes, it's okay.
Here, try this new technique. You've never tried it before. I actually didn't think I could teach anything to Ruth, but look at this. This is pretty. Look, see how pretty?
I haven't really
that
played
nice?
with the baby wipe stamping much, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
It's just a fun way to create this temporary, short-term, quick little ink pad. You know, if you don't want to use
Yes.
for example, create a palette where you want to put the liquid color all into the palette. This is just kind of a fun way to just use something temporary and move right along. Pretty. So you can see how simple the card is coming. So you just add the sentiment and a little bit of our sweet little washi tape
tape.
here. But let me bring the envelope in. I'm not going to take the time to assemble the whole envelope. I know that a lot of you who've assembled the boxes. Isn't it pretty? One tip I did have was to assemble it once you do all the folds and creases. This little guy right here is what I love to use to assemble the boxes. I think when you're adhering paper to paper, it really creates the best bond for the boxes. So one little tip for that. So how amazing is this class? If you have the envelope box, show what's inside,
Yes.
Ruth. I'll let her do the little reveal.
And you notice there's a K here for Kim, so nobody can swipe it. It's hers.
So inside the envelope box is not 1, not 2, but actually 4 cards. So the entire set would be all 4 cards. But all very similar, different sentiments. That sentiment set works perfectly for all the different occasions.
A great all-occasion set.
Yeah, and then you just put it in your sweet little box.
So I'll put
Fun
it, I'll
class,
put it
right?
out there right now. This one is perfect if you want to do Mother's Day for a Mother's Day gift with your
good idea.
customers.
Super fun.
Would you have them make the box there also, or would you pre-make the box?
I would have them make the box.
Yes.
I would give it to them just like this, don't you
Yes,
think?
yes. I would
Just have 'em
pre-cut it
assembled.
for them. I would pre-cut it for them, but have them assemble it in class.
Yeah.
The more they handle it, the more they use it, the more they tend to buy it.